Happy Tuesday, lean friends, and welcome to another lean coaching for lean coaches. Super excited to be with you here as we roll through spring here in the Northwest. And my guest and I were just talking about this because where he's at, it's the same, a little overcast today, but that isn't going to keep us from being in good spirits, is it? And so glad to have you here. As always, I am a lean coach for lean coaches, consultants who are looking to build a brand, build their business, and keep it sustainable because we all know we can have temporary spikes in thing and good and bad, but what we want is sustainability, and that's what I help you do: get unstuck, get clear, and move forward to build that sustainable brand and business. And if that's the thing that you need support and help with, why shoot me a DM? Let's have a conversation and explore what it would look like to work together. All right. With that, though, let's get to the conversation today. You're going to really enjoy this one. Um, I've just gotten to meet this gentleman here in the last few months, and it's been really really fun and refreshing. His voice in the lean space is very unique, and I love it because we need more of this. To be quite honest, I find it kind of many times there's lots of great people in the lean continuous improvement quality space, but I feel like there's a lot of copy paste too, and you will find that he is not that at all. And so I'm super happy to have Graham Connolly come on and join us today. Hey, Graham, how are you doing today, my friend?
Hi, Sam. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good, good. Like we were talking about earlier, it's a little cold. I'm wearing a long sleeve today. I can see you're buttoned up a little bit as well. So
Yep, sweater weather here on Vancouver Island.
that's right. That's right. Well, thanks again for coming on and being willing to join in on the fun. But it would be great, if folks aren't connected with you, and if you aren't already, please do reach out. You'll see, of course, his name here on the event and connect with him. And I think one of the things that I've appreciated, Graham, about you, and we'll dive into this more, is that you are very open and just direct, but also open as well personally, and that's what I really appreciate about you. But would love to hear more about maybe just a Cliff Notes version of your journey and where you're at today.
Sure. I have almost 20 years experience working in quality assurance and quality control in the construction, fabrication, nuclear, and aerospace industries. Much of my work is surrounding what I would consider critical process flow. So essentially doing things right the first time. But last year I branched out to start my own consulting practice to help small and medium businesses overcome their growing pains to create consistent processes and build operational momentum. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now.
And what got you, and then we'll dive into and it's the things that you're kind of dealing with these days. But what got you into um I forget what did you call it? The process control? I forget
Well,
the term.
it's
You told me this to me a number of times, and it still slipped my mind.
well, it's critical process flow.
Critical process.
There's a lot of aspects to quality and process and ensuring projects and are done right the first time.
Critical process flow. That's right. And this is something that's typically done in, I know, like in like aeronautical, right, aerospace and nuclear space, just because of how much you you got to measure twice, cut once in those industries for sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and it doesn't always go that way. There are controls in place to make sure nothing gets out, but that's kind of the perspective is how do we set this up so we can do it right the first time?
Well, yeah, and I think it's interesting too, and we talked about this yesterday as we were getting ready for our conversation today, is how sometimes those pieces, and thanks Sebastian for jumping in today as well, appreciate it. But sometimes those pieces, what you just talked about, that frame can not only apply in the work itself and how we're helping people with their processes and their flow, but also for ourselves in our own business. And of course, we don't turn this way of thinking off, do we? This is always with us. It leaves us. So I'm wondering for you, what sorts of you know challenges are you experiencing right now as you've gone out and you launched out into this wonderful world of entrepreneurship? What are you facing as
I think the biggest challenge I've been facing, I've been mulling over this for quite a while, is how to find feedback from different areas, because you create something, say content online, and you put it out there, and you get a little bit of feedback, but it tends to be, especially on LinkedIn, the positive side. So you get something that does well, but if it doesn't do so well, you're not really sure what happened, and trying to find sources of feedback. Plus, in general, just having conversations to get like one-on-one feedback from people.
when you're I'm curious, like, because I totally hear you, and I've experienced that as well. You'll get like maybe you do a post or an event, you're on a podcast, you write an article, and sure you get the. I mean, I'm always glad for any support that comes in, and it's never a lack of appreciation, and I'm sure it's the same for you. But it's the okay. Well, how can I what really hit here or didn't hit here? What worked for people? What didn't work for people? Um, I'm wondering for you, what is the end goal with the feedback? What are you hoping like that will do for you? What do you want to get out of the feedback?
To get feedback would be to be able to regularly iterate and kind of maybe fix the things that aren't doing so well, or just kind of correct course. And through correcting course regularly, you can build momentum. And I think that's what like groups and like larger groups and organizations have
Yeah.
an advantage over, let's say, the solopreneur, is that they have regular feedback, almost perpetual within their group, that allows them to iterate quickly and gain momentum, because we all have blind spots, and they're hard to see on your own, right?
Yes, yes, by virtue of the definition, we cannot,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
We aren't able to do that. And I think you bring up a good point in organizations that have that, so long as they have created a culture in which they are
Hmm.
open to that and listen and then iterate. That's definitely an advantage that they have that in terms of the internal, right? Do you have a bigger, or what is rather the bigger picture that you're looking for this feedback to help drive you to? Like you're wanting to build momentum, which makes sense. What's the end goal for that?
To have any have my message, content, even direction, um, deliver more value, and actually connect to what is needed.
Hmm. What what's the end of that, and how would you know that that's happened? I guess how would you know that you've delivered value in the way that you want it? How are you measuring that? How would you know
Mm,
that it's done that?
it's a good question. I'm not sure what that looks like, but essentially it would be even more feedback, but would be on the positive side, right?
What is positive feedback? And I guess I'm being a pain in the ass here just because I want to understand what you're really looking for and when it will be enough for you. Like, how will you know that you've gotten what you need? And like, okay, this is getting me, this is helping me, this is good. Um,
Well, I don't think there's a definitive end goal to having more information, right? Like we're getting feedback and just trying to collect as much feedback as possible and correcting course depending on where you're headed. Um, I've been trying as much to have a conversations, get out there, networking to spark those conversations. I started a networking group here in town because there was nothing available. So we have a entrepreneurial networking group that meets every 3 weeks. So that sparks conversations that creates direct feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have a group of people there so that you're able to have conversations and find opportunities to be able to get feedback. Do you have like is the feedback that you're looking to get like in service of a bigger goal that you're looking to move towards?
I think of the get to a point where I can actually build that momentum instead of often how we meander on LinkedIn where we
Yeah.
try something else, but we're not sure what worked and what didn't work. Having having maybe a network of people that could directly offer feedback, almost like a just yeah some kind of group that is able to contribute feedback to each other. And I've had conversations with several people about what that might look like.
Mm. Is that group that would be kind of a I don't know, for lack of a better word, I'll just call it a community. You can name it whatever you want, I suppose. Would that be in service of something bigger? I guess what I'm driving at as an entrepreneur is this in service? Is this a personal? Is this a business? Is this like help? Like, are you wanting to bring in like help drive your business in some way, awareness, more clients, like building a like a group? I'm just like trying to picture in my mind. What is it?
It would be to drive business for each of the entrepreneurs because that's the being especially a solopreneur. That's kind of the one thing that we have a disadvantage over compared to other companies. But to maybe offer something similar to the capabilities larger groups and organizations may have that feedback.
Mm. What like with this group that you're picturing, what would be like awesome for it to be like doing for like just overall for the people in the group, the community, individuals? Like what would you be seeing that would be just like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome if we could do this?
Like maybe something like a regular sounding board, like something where you can get regular direct feedback, not something that's once in a while where
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If you try all these things and then you get
Yeah.
some feedback, but regular
Right.
feedback so you can actually build some momentum, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I find it's interesting. We talk about like experiments and like you're talking about getting feedback. If you do it once every, I don't know, 6 weeks, like, and you're like, okay, you try something and then you don't hear back for 6 weeks versus like if you hear back the next day, you're trying something. There's
Hmm.
something about the way that you can build that momentum versus like if you're waiting for 6 weeks.
Oh,
You know?
exactly. So
Yeah.
for feedback with what you're doing, what are your typical sources of feedback that help you kind of propel yourself?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say and this is thank you for chiming in, Sebastian. I appreciate that. And I think yes, Sebastian's saying he'd be interested in building a community for lean coaches, using this platform. I have a community that I started for lean leaders, lean coaches, and entrepreneurs. So that's something where, like, for instance, I'm building this course for daily standard work for LinkedIn, and so I'm using the platform. Like, I've got this community. So last week I did the actual beta session on Wednesday, but I presented it to my community the day before so I could get feedback. And I'm like,
Hmm.
those are the kinds of things where I can do that and share ideas. I've done that before with for instance, using polls on LinkedIn is great because you can like put out a question if you're like curious about like, hey, if I tried this, what would this be something you'd be interested? Yes or no, right? That those are great ways to
Exactly.
just get some immediate feedback. And it's not there's low resistance to doing those sorts of things. Um, yeah, that's just a couple things that come to mind right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. It's direct and quick feedback, so that you're not steering off course too far, right?
That's the idea. I mean, you're wanting to give yourself some either validation to like when I did this daily standard work course, it was like I put a poll out there, would you be interested in this? And I had 30 people vote and I'm like, okay, well that gives me some feedback and so I'll give it a try and put some stuff together. So now that's what I'm doing. And then put something out every couple weeks, get some feedback, try it again, you know, versus I don't know. I mean, could be quicker, I suppose, but it also could be slower. So we're
Mm.
trying, we're iterating. Um, what what do you think is like you've talked about this group having consistent um like a consistent regular feedback loop for lack of a better term. What's preventing that from being able to be created for you?
Well, right now it's still kind of in its infancy, the whole idea to make sure that it would something like that could be fair to everybody, right? And would
Mm,
provide value to everyone equally. Actually, recently, actually last week, went to a networking event in Vancouver, and it had a lot of direct feedback. That's kind of how it was set up. The structure
nice.
offered a lot of direct feedback for everybody involved equally,
Mm.
which was nice to see.
When you say equally, is that like what do you mean by that?
Well, everyone essentially shared what they do and how they help people. They went on for a few minutes, and then everyone was able to ask questions, give feedback. So there was there was direct feedback, there was questions, there was like um, responses and rebuttals.
Nice.
Yeah.
So equal space meaning like like time
Hmm.
effectively like
Yes.
so no one was dominating the the time with their whatever they were sharing.
Yeah, and that's just one example of getting direct feedback that you may not normally get, especially if you're just on LinkedIn or you're just working by yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's you can I suppose you can put it out there, but you know, you can't control the what people like if people share or not. Right. That's not something
Hmm.
so um what's the so you've talked about a few things. What are some things that you've tried so far to help, you know, kind of create this kind of space for yourself that you're wanting to build?
So far, it's been trying to spark conversations, like even starting this networking group in town. It was generally to meet new people, but also it gives everyone a space to give to give feedback and actually interact with people. Um, but right now, it's just kind of an idea, just to see if there's a possibility of a community that could work,
Mm.
or what that may look like.
So, if you're thinking about maybe in this next, I don't know, in this next week, this is obviously a passion of yours. I know we've had a few conversations over the past couple months, and this is something that is like something that is like a recurring theme.
Hmm.
Uh, what's something you could do, like just practically speaking, that could help you move forward? And you talk about doing iterations. So maybe let's just say in the next 24 hours, what's one thing you could do that could help you move forward in this?
Well, I've already been having conversations with some people locally here that have the kind of the same views of missing that feedback, missing that
Nice.
that that kind of collective perspective to help shed light on people's blind spots to help them move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, but going forward, I'm not sure beyond just just seeing what works so far and having those conversations and getting things rolling.
Is there someone, or is there like a person in particular or a couple people in particular that you've really connected with that feel like, oh man, this would be something that we could talk about building together, that you want to build there?
Yeah, no, I have with a few people, and it's starting to roll. There's been some conversations about what it might look like, what how we could piece it together, but still in the early details.
Is there something, because I know for me at least, I can create obstacles for myself, that I put in front of me based out of whatever. I'm afraid, it's a challenge, this
Mhm.
feels like it might be difficult. Is there something you could do to move those conversations further along, so you could, because you talked earlier about having faster iterations so you can build momentum. Is there something you could do with that could help you build some momentum with this group, that you could do a little faster?
I don't think so right now, based on the availability of everyone that's getting together. Just trying to see what work on what options would be good for everyone.
What options are you all considering at this point?
Well, looking at what the structure may look like, or even what technology could be integrated to assist.
Do you have like a frequency that you guys have discussed, and the technology? Like what have those conversations been like?
It's still really early, haven't gotten that far. It's just basically just pinning things up just to see what options might work. It's just collecting pieces, right, and information.
What would keep you from reaching out to get more clarity on like the timeline on the platform, that kind of thing?
What do you mean? Sorry. Can
So,
you say that again?
what would keep you? So you've talked about you're still pinning these things up, you kind of having conversations. What would keep you from checking? I don't know how you're communicating with them, like sending an email or a direct message or a text, to get more clarity on that, or start a conversation around that.
Uh, just just kind of keeping it top of mind and keeping things moving, and just yeah, keeping just trying to see if this will go anywhere.
What So you've talked about, like, you'd wanna do that, right? You wanna have these conversations, and you're working on, you've got a couple people that it sounds like, okay, these would be people that I'd love to, like, kind of have be a core group of people. So what would keep you from, like, maybe taking like moving those conversations along at a little faster speed other than what you shared, I guess.
Oh, not sure. Yeah, because it's hard. That's hard to answer because it's so early, and
Sure.
kind of it's beyond setting up those conversations to keep things moving. Um, Basically, maybe just research to see what options are out there, maybe tech options.
Sure. Sure. That sounds good. I mean, any little step forward is a step forward versus because we can, as you know, we do a good job in lean of talking about things, but like having something that can move us forward and like you
Hmm.
said, build that momentum is what we want to do. Right. That's
Oh,
exactly what we're
absolutely.
doing. So what
And
could you
building.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, and just trying to stay focused on the power of that kind of community,
Yeah.
like the power organizations and companies have that um, solopreneurs could benefit from each other.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. I mean, it's something um that we as solopreneurs have to kind of like you've talked about leverage that as best as we can. So that's awesome and excited to hear how this goes for you as you do that. So definitely keep us posted as how that goes. What have you found most valuable from this conversation today?
Just kind of looking at the different pieces of this idea to see to see how we can move forward. But yeah, once again, feedback. It's all about feedback, right?
That's right. That's right. That's great. No, that's awesome. This has been great. It really, it's good to have these conversations. And Sebastian says they have group coaching calls where learners provide feedback to the coach and coach provides so that's awesome. And having the assessment. So that's great,
Mm,
Sebastian, having those um, spaces where people can come in, they get that feedback so that they can improve. That's absolutely so important as entrepreneurs, as coaches, having some type of feedback loop. And just like even just having like a question, like I just asked you for me in these, conversations gives me something to go, oh, okay, that was valuable. Or by not saying this, that, or the other, then I know, okay, I'm going to steer away from that or lean more into, what you shared. So that's awesome. So got to practice. We got to
exactly.
practice. We got to practice
Yep.
it.
Practice.
Well, thank you again for being here on Thursday. We'll be back with an audio room and we'll have some good conversation about you know entrepreneurship and setting goals and having a clear goal and a vision of where we're headed to. So we'll have a good lively conversation there. We'll be back again next Tuesday for another lean coaching session. So thanks again, Sebastian, for chiming in, and for all those that check out on the replay, thank you. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday same time and again next week. Take good care, and thanks again, Graham. Appreciate you coming on.